Welcome to the Bible Theology blog. My name is Seth Knorr, and today I want to talk about a topic that is a very hot topic in the church today. In fact, among the Southern Baptist Convention has become an issue that is hotly debated now, which is, can women be pastors? And for that matter, can women be pastors, elders, and deacons? And I have a new book that I wrote. It's called A Biblical Case for Women Pastors, Elders, and Deacons. You can get it on Amazon. You can actually read the first 2 chapters of the book with the Look Inside feature or by downloading a free ebook on Amazon and get a little bit of a context and the main argument of the book. And the book was triggered, and I wrote it based on a gift I got for Christmas one year from my wife, which was a text of the earliest manuscripts of the New Testament. And in that book, I noticed that in P46 there was a textual variant that I didn't find in any other textual variant apparatuses, including UBS 5 or Nestle Island, and it got me wondering why. And I did more research, and I found that same variant appeared also in Codex Vaticanus. And P46 is one of the earliest manuscripts that we have of the Pauline epistles. It actually has been dated by Kim to 80 AD. Others date it to 200 AD. It's a very reliable manuscript. Codex Vaticanus, on the other hand, is one of our best manuscripts when it comes to something that's the most complete. We don't have everything from Vaticanus, but when you really look at the manuscript evidence, I think most textual critics will agree that Vaticanus is the best manuscript that we have of the Bible that's closest to the original that wasn't doctored by the scribes. Then what I found that 2 Greek scripture quotations in the early church fathers agreed with P46 in Codex Vaticanus. Furthermore, I actually prove in the book where the variant reading that we have in our Bibles appeared. I can actually show that based on evidence from the early church fathers and other historical evidence. So you definitely want to pick it up, and you might be thinking, well, I don't know Greek, I'm not going to be able to understand the arguments in the book. Actually, it's written in a way where anybody can understand the arguments. I even give some simple Greek grammar rules just to understand the basics of syntax, but overall, the book kind of just more deals with arguments from history, looking and reassessing what the early church fathers said in light of that variant reading. And when we understand that, it gives us the context of, are we really understanding what Paul said when he says, I don't permit a woman to teach, or I do not allow a woman to speak in the church, or it's shameful for a woman to speak in the church? I submit to you that we are actually mistranslating those passages. And when you understand the variant, it really turns on its head the whole doctrine, the whole teaching. It's actually quite extraordinary how it changes what we think of those passages. It actually, our bias currently of how we think they're supposed to be translated completely changes. So I wanted to talk about that. I also encourage you to get my new book, A Biblical Case for Women Pastors, Elders, and Deacons. In the book, I also go through evidence of women pastors, elders, and deacons in the Bible. I also talk about Phoebe, who is definitely a deacon, and give some strong evidence that we're also pretty biased in a lot of our translations, unfortunately. And even the BDAG lexicon is quite biased at multiple points in time. So if you're wondering, hey, can a woman be a pastor? I find in the book, yes. There is no verse in the Bible that prohibits a woman from teaching, especially when we understand properly the prohibition that Paul apparently gave of women teaching. And when we understand how it's supposed to be translated, we'll say, no, it does not. And it's from a biblical perspective. So I know there's a lot of books out there that deal with historical information, or it was a situation based on a certain time and place. I do not deal with those kind of arguments in the book. I just look at solely based on the text of Scripture as it was originally written, because I do believe in the inerrancy of Scripture, that what was written originally was without error. When we understand that without error, then we understand that what is in the book is right. And part of that makes sense too, because Paul said that a woman could pray and prophesy with her head covered earlier in 1 Corinthians. And so if he gives that there, and all complementarians who believe that women can't be pastors agree that women can pray and prophesy in the church, that means that Paul wasn't saying a woman couldn't speak, because then we'd have a scripture contradiction. And that adds further evidence that the data that I found is correct. So get my new book, and stay tuned. Hit subscribe. This is a new YouTube channel. Love to have you a part of it, and I will continue to go through chapters in my book, kind of explaining more in depth, and I hope to see you on the next episode. Thanks, and have a great day. My name is Seth Knorr.